There we go. I think that we are live. At least I think I'm live. Without any preamble, the troller has arrived in the troll dens. We'll hang out for a little bit, see if anyone shows up. I don't think Grace promoted this stream, nor Chuck, because he is still off and wandering on vacation. He's telling me I have an unstable connection. How's it going, Rick Loveday? There we good. Some folks are wandering in. Good deal. Can you hear me all right? I have no technical support here in the dens. I have been abandoned. I've been abandoned by all of the trolls. But there you go. What are you going to do? All right, good deal, Rogdoff. Well, I am Stephen Chenault. I am CEO of Droller Games, and I am here to do the Ask Me Anything, whatever we do on Tuesdays on July 22nd. I literally just finished writing a short adventure for Frog God Games for one of their Kickstarters. I don't know which one, but I was a stretch reward. So I was just finishing that up moments ago when I realized, when Davis texted, and I realized, oh crap, I got a stream in like 5 minutes. So Tuesday is my CNC night. Excellent. That's the way to do it. I haven't been able to play CNC in well over a month. I gotta fix that, and it's gonna be at least 2 more weeks though, because we got Gen Con coming up, and then Comic Con this weekend. I gotta go to Comic Con, and then Gen Con the following week. I'm actually looking forward to both of these conventions. I have not looked forward to conventions in general because we are so busy here in the Troll Dens. I haven't been as enthusiastic in the last couple of years about cons as I am about these two, so it's going to be nice actually to get on the road and meander about a little bit. Your love on Rick Loveday. Good deal. How's it going? I'm stuck already. And I did this to my shirt. Brand new shirt. I crawled up underneath the cutter today to mess with one of the hydraulic lines and got grease or oil or hydraulic fluid. I don't know. I just bought this damn shirt, so the wife is going to kill me. How's it going, Savage Splinter DM Chris? Everybody wondering in. At least it's not troll blood. That is true. That cutter has probably cut just about every troll there is at one time or the other. And it hurts when it gets you. I've only scraped. Davis is actually cut pretty deep. Yeah, you know, I keep debating as to whether it's time to grow a beard or not. I took a picture last year, I guess, for my driver's license, and I looked like some kind of zombie. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but I thought, man, maybe I need to break up the old man chisel with a beard. But it too has its age requirements. What was I watching today? Something about, and I just don't know what to believe on anything that I see anymore, but this snippet was, this gentleman was talking about, where was it? What, some institute? I don't know. There's so many institutes. So many people doing shit. But they had, and Jeremy, go check this out. Maybe you've heard something about this. They had reversed aging in a mouse. They had these mice that had gone blind due to aging, and they reversed aging in the eyes. Because they know which, blah, 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 blah. It sounds, yeah, I was just about to say, that sounds highly suspect to me. It sounds like something that's I don't know, there's so much crap on the internet that it's just, and now of course it's just shovel loads of it, and we can't discern because, you know, what are you looking at, the real and the not real? I will tell you this, and this was pretty cool. So the wife and I had to go up into the mountains to check out our flooded cabin this past weekend. Thursday, whatever day, Friday, and we were listening to, it sounds too good, we were listening to some UFO podcasts. Now, the UFO podcasts are pretty interesting. The biggest problem I have with them is that frequently they're talking to people that are older and don't have, when they do interviews, they don't have microphones and all this bullshit, and you can't hear them. It's just meandering, you know, whatever, and you get snippets of a phrase here and there, and you're trying to keep up with what happened at, you know, in the Piedmont flap of 1973 or whatever. But anyway, so we found one, and it was this couple, this man and a woman talking, and they started with this UFO. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what the subject matter was, but he kind of does the preamble stuff, and then she kind of responded to him, and then he says something, and she says something, and their mics are brilliant, beautiful. We can hear them super clear. I actually turned to Kathy and said, "Hey, this one might be a keeper. We can actually hear these two." And she said, "Yeah, it is." And we listened for about maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. But the interactions were unnaturally crisp. Unnaturally crisp. He would kind of pose a problem or a question. She would respond immediately, and she had a response. And I made a comment to my wife. I said, "Kat, is this AI? I've heard discussions where AI actually is doing all of the talk. They do all the, you give them a prompt, and she started researching. And about as she was researching for the next couple of minutes, all of the responses seemed canned, like if it was a distillation of what you would find on the internet. And then about the time my brain's like, oh yeah, this is completely AI. She was like, oh yeah, this is AI. The whole thing is prompt driven, which was kind of disappointing because we could hear them. We could actually hear what was being said. It was amazing. Let's see, de-aging mice. The article on Nature is paywalled, so I can't provide details, but the claim is as follows. Mice injected with a microRNA molecule live longer and had fewer markers of aging, but it's not yet known if the treatment would work in people. So there is a germ of truth to de-aging. That reminds me of the Michael Moorcock book, Dancers. Was it Dancers at the End of Time, I think is the name of the book, in which humans are just immortal at this point, and there's very few of them. They don't breed, they don't do anything, as whatever has killed off our species. Those few immortals just do and say whatever they want to. So that maybe that's where we're headed. Maybe if we can unlock immortality in our species, the whole nature of what we and who we are will change. As I just found out about it, do you have plans to reprint the Starship Warden? God help us if we do. Yeah, I would like to live forever just to see how the story ends, but it doesn't look like that's in the cards unless they de-age super, super fast. Too much stuff is AI and it's getting so good. I know, really, dude, how much, I can't tell it. I can tell probably half of it. I can say, oh yeah, that's AI. But there's so much of it, I just can't. I can't. It's pretty good. It's pretty confusing. We're going to have to go back to the printed word, which is okay by me, because I publish books. Savage Splinter, on to your question about the Starship Warden. So for those of you who don't know, we worked with Jim Ward while he was still alive, and we published a huge, monstrous copy of Starship Warden. How was that, 800 pages? I don't know, it was gigantic. And, excuse me. And we sold it for about 2 years. And then something cropped up, and Jim's publishing partners called and asked if they could be released from the contracts, and they really didn't do it that nicely. It was done rather rather rudely. But the upshot is I not wanting to work with people that are going to be that rude. I stepped back and released them from the contract. Interestingly, Jim called me in the course of all of that. Jim and I were very good friends. And Jim called me and said, "Hey, if you want to keep this contract, you absolutely can keep this contract. Do not hesitate." Blah blah blah. But I didn't want it. It was the faint opportunity of Jim to make some really good money. It didn't pan out for him, but I wasn't certainly going to stand in the way of that. So the Starship Warden is no longer part of the TLG enterprise. I know that the legal around the Starship Warden is now very, very murky as to who owns it. And it's probably not in the near future going to see the light of day unless some parties acquiesce their ownership and just say this isn't ours. Or if they all come together. I don't know. I mean, it's been on my mind to reach out to the Ward family. I don't know them well. I know a couple of the sons. I talked to his wife at the funeral, and Jim kept his gaming world very separate from his family world. So I would love to bring the Starship Warden back. I think it's, if not the most unique, one of the top 3 most unique settings out there. I think what he did with that was really, really cool. And you can take it to its early inception back in the 70s all the way up. It holds really well, and it gives the game master just anything that they want, from dinosaurs to science fiction to fantasy. It's all there, and he contained it quite beautifully in this gigantic Starship Warden. Now, I hate to see it not in print. I really do. It's sad. It's great content, and I think it's content that if it was properly redone, and the way we redid it wasn't how I wanted to do it, but if it was properly redone, I think it could be remade for a modern audience. I really do. But there you go. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Reminds me of the Asgard and Stargate cloning gone wrong. Can you imagine publishing CNC to the heat death of the universe? It might get old after us. That would be hilarious. Castles and Crusades! I think I might have to take a hiatus at that point. Good evening, trolls. I wish to make known that a barbarian has entered the happy hunting grounds. He arrived in a strange gnomish contraption called a crazy train. May the Ozman rest in peace. Yes, indeed, Partulus. Godspeed to Ozzy Osbourne. He crossed over today. May his music carry on and into the infinities of everything. Ozzy was a pretty cool guy. I was never a giant metal fan, though his music's badass. If Ozzy came on, you listen to him, and he was just it's just kind of crazy, which I can appreciate. Me soon be fellow BBs. Yes, Paladin Dad. Are you are you up in BB? Are you? We are going up to sign the final contracts tomorrow for the financing, so that should be done. And I believe, very tentatively, groundbreaking will begin on Tuesday, August 5th. So that is the hope. The hype chest is here. I don't know what that is, so I'm just going to X that out as it is disturbing me, and I cannot read while it is in the way. Starship Warden is a great book. Glad I have it. I remember you saying never making a book that... Yeah. What I would really like, needs a fresh pass on art, but agreed, wildly brilliant. Yeah, what I really, was he? That's very cool. I think Matt Golden of Castles and Crusades fame is a giant Ozzy fan. He's more Kiss than Ozzy, but he did love Ozzy. We'll be making the trek to Page next year. To an excellent. Page is a good con. Crazy Train's a great song. Am I going down for that? For Page, I'm not sure. I have to get with Chuck. Osmosis is my favorite album. Star Laws. My dad was a huge Kiss fan too. Yeah. Oh, dude. You mentioned Kiss to Matt Golden, and he goes just ape shit, and he's got all the crap at school block, all that, all this stuff. One of the patch will have to rewrite Crazy Train now. It's the Wizard by Black Sabbath for me. One of the most of my D&D songs. I'm a Blue Oyster Cult for my music for Dungeons and Dragons, Castles and Crusades. I go with the Blue Oyster Cult. Love this. I'm actually just listening to Cultosaurus Erectus this afternoon. Let's see. There was a question. There's something I was going to address in all of that. Oh, back to the Starship Warden very, very briefly. Just to let you guys know what we had intended to do. What I had intended to do, what I wanted to do, was put this giant book out as Jim Ward had wanted it to come out, which we did. And then I wanted to revisit it. And I'm pretty sure that you all in this room have seen the movie Aliens. If you remember that scene towards the end when they're all in is it the kitchen? Wherever they are, the office, I don't know, what it matter. And they're looking at this schematic of the colony. They're kind of scrolling through that thing, and they're trying to figure out where they got to seal the pipes and all that bullshit. You know what I'm talking about. I wanted to do that for each level of the Starship Warden, to really expand it out so that your character could go into vent pipes, and cross from level 2 to level 7 or whatever. So all of that stuff to actually give the Starship Warden its working components, make it real. And I think that, I don't know that that's doable, but that would have been the equivalent of Alfstrag, Our Giant Dungeon, or Castle Zaggig. That would be the space equivalent of something like that. That would have been very, very cool. But it's probably not going to happen now. Who knows? I may this has kind of put me in the mind to contact the wards and see what's going on in there. Styx is a fantastic band. I gotta go with Renegade when I go with Styx. Renegade and what's the time? The song Not Enough Time on My Hands. Fantastic Styx songs. Absolutely fantastic Styx songs. You said something about Zagging, as I recall. Yeah, well, what I'm going to do, and by me, I mean you and me, Jeremy, are with Davis. What I want to do with Alfstrag, Because the way you get around an Alpstrag, for those of you who don't know, Alpstrag is my mega dungeon. It goes in the world of Arid. It's 21 levels. This gigantic tower that sits above a swamp. And the way you get around easily is called the stacks. And these are the smokestacks that are built in all the rooms that carry all the heat and, you know, fireplaces and all this bullshit, all the way through the giantess of Alpstrag. I would like that stuff mapped out. I think that would be absolutely cool. I have no concept of how to do it, but to do that for Alpstrag would be very, very cool, so that you could follow Yellow Pipe 6-21, whatever we want to call it, you know, to whatever room. I just think that would be very, very cool. Leaving a little bit up for the GMs out there to create whatever they want, but also to flesh all of that out. But vertical maps or color coordination, yeah, something like that. See, Jeremy, I knew it. I knew you were the guy. So you already figured the problem out. I think that would be just really cool. I think the same thing for Starship War and same thing for Alpstrag. Castle Zaggy is a little different. There's not like hundreds of ways to get around, but there are ways to go from level to level. And those are kind of written out, much more contained. Because if you think about it, you're on level 2 of Alpstrag, and there's a room with a fireplace. Well, that heat's got to go somewhere. So that's going to go up a chimney and into a larger stag, and then on and on. Sometimes it's vented out the sides. Often it just goes to the top. Stephen likes sticks. It's not just German polka. Alan Jackson for him. I do like some German polka, that is for sure. Love yodeling music. And Alan Jackson's Good Times album is one of the best country albums out there. His early hits were fantastic. All of his early stuff was just fantastic. My first sticks was Pieces of 8, and still a huge fan of it. Blue Oyster Cult came from heavy metal and loved some BOC. The music back then in the late 70s, probably mid to late 70s, early 80s, is really, really fantastic. Blondie's stuff is out, of course. Styx is out. You got Leonard Skinner, you know, tearing it up. Well, up until 78. When did Leonard Skinner crash? I can't remember when they crashed. 77? I don't know. So, at some point. They crashed at some point. Half the band and the lead singer were killed. But Journey, how can I forget Journey? Journey has just got some great in music. And all of it is just love ballad after love ballad after love ballad. If it wasn't for the pill, I think the Gen X would be the largest of all the generations. But the pill changed that, and it's the smallest of all the generations, which is funny. That's my damn true to you, Stephen. The time I most listened to. Yeah, it was country music, and then I listened to a lot of country. Well, I should say I listened to a lot of Johnny Cash, Crystal Gale, and the Statler Brothers. It was really my bread and butter. I'm about to say bed and butter. That sounded kind of weird. My bed and butter. But I listened to anything that was on the radio. Casey Kasem, of course. I loved Styx. Zane listened to Styx, and that's when I discovered Blondie and Blue Oyster Cult, and I've not turned it. And it's weird. It's weird too, especially with BOC. Blondie hits for me on multiple levels. But Blue Oyster Cult, because I don't really listen to a lot of metal music, and I guess BOC is metal. I guess it's as close to metal as I'm going to get. But BOC is just, I don't know, it's got those 2 albums. What is it? Cultosaurus Erectus is my favorite album, and then Fire of an Unknown Origin. Fantastic. Just good stuff. It's just good stuff. Good stuff. The Statler Brothers, Bed and Breakfast coming soon at TTRPG. That's right. Journey, Styx, Rush, BOC, Foreigner, Boston. What is the Rush? Who did Tom Sawyer? Who did Tom? I love that song, Tom Sawyer. Is that's Rush, right? I think. I can't remember now. It's Rush. Okay, yes. All right. Yeah. I didn't listen to a whole lot of Rush, but Tom Sawyer is one of the coolest songs out there. You can't go wrong with it. Counting Flowers on the Wall. Yeah, that's a great song. Do We Remember These? Class of 57. All of these songs. The weird thing about the Statler Brothers, and I don't know why I did this as a 12-year-old kid, first record album I ever bought was out of a magazine. It was the greatest hits of the Statler Brothers. I still have it over there. My mom wrote the check for like $2.99 or $4.99, and I got it like 6 weeks later, and I still listen to it to this day. So I think for the Statler Brothers, it brings me back, you know, to a different thing. REM, Player Some. Did you listen to REM? Player Some asked, did you listen to REM? REM's a great band. All of their music is, not all, but a lot of their music is just iconic. I wasn't a huge REM fan when they came out, but started, like I always do, I started listening to stuff late. In the early 90s, and I think REM is early, mid-90s, right? I was listening to Jewel and Mazzy Star, and the Changelings. I was listening to just these really kind of esoteric, in those days, Mazzy Star was huge now, but no one knew who Mazzy Star was back then. And it's I was listening to just I don't know what is it alt rock? I don't know what it was. Dito, I don't know. There's all kinds of just um, you know cool little indie bands. Let's go with that. Indie bands. You can't. The Changelings is one of my favorites. It's out of Atlanta, Georgia. This tiny little indie band had all their albums, like 3 or 4 albums. Discovered them at Dragon Con. I think they still perform to this day, but it's a hot minute later. My first record that wasn't read along 45 was the Black Hole soundtrack. Nice. Animaniacs, the two squirrels with a bit of who's on stage and who's on first, freaking hilarious. Yeah, I've told it a couple of times, Tyler, and it's really weird how much that has stuck out in my mind. I don't know, it's very weird. I loved her so much that I've seen them in concert 2 times a year from 82 to... That's very cool, Varsuk. Tom Tullis of Fat Dragon Games is the biggest Rush fan I know. That dude you mentioned, I make fun of Rush occasionally, not because I don't like Rush, because I like to get Tom riled up. So it's all I have to do is text Tom, go, hey, Tom, listen to some Rush today, and I had to turn it off, and he just... all this vile stuff comes at me from all over the place. Saw Seventh Voyage of Sinbad last week, and I wasn't aware that it had CNC movies in the 50s. There you go. How's it going, Em? Thanks for joining us. Tullis has been a huge help to those of us in the hobby with 3D printers. Absolutely. For those of you who don't know, Tom Tullis of Fat Dragon Games, very close friend of mine. He started not long after TOG, sometime in 2003, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, something like that. Now he did his 20th year last year, so whatever. Yeah, 2005? I don't know. He started making these really cool paper designs for miniatures. Like you could do a windmill, you could do castle walls. I always go to that windmill because that's my favorite of all of his creations. I absolutely love that windmill. It sat on my desk for years until a book fell and I crushed it. Because you print them off and he had all these instructions on how to kind of connect it. It's really, really cool. Well, even before 3D printing became a thing, Tom Tullis began selling his paper stuff with the, is it STL files? Is that what it is, Malaki? STL? With our SSI, whatever it is. STL files so that you could do one or the other. You could do paper or you could download the file and print this stuff 3D. And then as time progressed, he got really, really good at it. He's got the, I think it's called the Dragon Lock system, that STL files, there you go. The Dragon Lock system that allows you to kind of clip, you print it and you clip this stuff together. Then he's got just badass stuff like torches that light, walls that move, trapdoors that work. It is so very, very cool. And his YouTube channel, if you have, let's see if I can, I'll get that. I need to post that. Tom's a good guy. Let's kill that. Let's see, Fat Dragon Games. He's got a bit, yep, there we go, boom. So if you're into 3D printing, let me put this up. If you're into 3D printing, go over, subscribe to Tullis, to Fat Dragon Games. Tom Tullis is the owner of the company. It's not, and he's got tons and tons of tutorials on how to 3D print, how to run your 3D printer, and he's got some really badass RPG stuff. I'm gonna text him right here. I just spent the last 20 minutes, not really 10 minutes, plugging your YouTube channel. Let's see if we can get, Tom in the room here. That would be kind of cool. Yes, just great stuff. It's very, very cool stuff, and it's 3D printed, so it's plastic. It's not, it's not heavy. It's just good stuff. All good stuff. So check out Fat Dragon Games if you're into 3D printing, and if you're not, check it out. 3D printers aren't that expensive. You can get a good one. And set it up, and you start printing on Monday. By Friday, you got some terrain ready to go. And if I don't know if he ever did those of you who follow Tom Tullis closely, did he ever do the windmill as a 3D print? I don't think he did. That windmill was badass. I'm just fascinated with windmills. For someone who hates windmills out west, those gigantic monstrosities because they break up my horizon, I like small windmills. Don't tell him I said this. He just said thanks, much appreciated. I'm still live now. You should join us in the chat, you bastard. And then he could come answer the windmill question. But I suspect he's already eating dinner. I think he's in the Eastern Standard Time. I don't know. Don't know if I said this, but Tom's an okay guy. There you go. I highly recommend the Fat Dragon stuff on TTRPG. The minis are great and there are no supports. Yeah, it's just really good stuff. Ask him about his line of 3D Printed yeah, I'll do that. He's making dinner. All right. Your people are calling on you, but I told them you're making dinner. Good stuff. If you haven't, go check it out. All the way around. You cannot fail. I mean, close this because it's this scrolling madness. It's just going to make me go crazy. There you go. All right. There's a lame excuse. I agree. That's a very lame excuse. He said I have people. Tyler. Tyler, we lost a crew member for Gen Con. You need to jump on and let us pick you up in a couple weeks. Yes, Lyman, rest in peace. Ozzy Osbourne, he crossed over today. We lost a great one. One of the iconic people in music, period. Jeremy's on deck. We need people to sell, Jeremy. Your curmudgeonly nature. We'll have to talk. We'll see you on the other side, Ozzy. Absolutely, Malaki will. See him on the side. Maybe he's up there sitting at the table with Gary, and they can they can roll some dice together and listen to some music. What was, man, it's going to escape you now. What was Gary's favorite band? Oh, it's right down the tip of my tongue. Damn it. Tyler, just start rattling off bands. Damn it. I can't remember. See, Jimmy's playing and Ozzy is singing. Ozzy and let me rock and seriously, let me see if I can pull that off. It's Pistols in there, Colts. God, I don't know, man. It's not gonna. I'm not gonna. My brain's not good for trivia. And he used to. Dan. There's a Dan. Steely Dan. I think it's Steely Dan. Is that Pistols? I think Steely Dan is one of Gary's. Don't quote me. Is that a big rock band from those days, from the 60s, 70s? Does that sound right? I think that sounds right. I thought you were doing immigrant song intro. Yes, Tyler, it is. Beatles, Rolling Stone. I think it's Steely Dan. I think. I don't know why I think that. But I'll have to ask Luke when I see him next. John Ford Coley. My wife loves Steely Dan. That's not into them. Yeah, that sounds about right then. That sounds about right. Good old Gary. The Who, Queen, 79s and 80s. Queen's got some of the most iconic music from those days. Absolute. What was it? I remember another one bites the dust. Another one is going to bite the dust today. Another one bites the dust. I was in 8th grade, I believe, when that came out. And when that came out on the dance floor, we all went absolutely ape shit. And then the other huge one was, of course, was it Champions? What is that called? We Are the Champions? Whatever that damn thing's called. Cheap Trick's a good band. Iron Maiden. So as notes missed this last time around, as Quinn did the Flash Gordon. Are you kidding me? I did not know that. That is really funny. Portuguese. That's better than the Flesh Gordon soundtrack, I suppose. So, so there you go. I have to listen to some Steely Dan later to see if any of it appeals to me. Yes, good Lord, you're older than I, and you're asking if Steely Dan was a band from the 70s. I don't remember listening to them. I know the name, so it was. What was their hit? What was their biggest hit that came out? Why does Flash Gordon keep coming? The only thing, every time someone says Flash Gordon, immediately I think of Flash Gordon and some of the stills. I've actually never seen it, but some of the stills from it are absolutely hysterical. But there you go. Ricky Don't Lose. Is that Steely Dan? You're kidding me. Oh yeah, then I absolutely listen to Steely Dan. Absolutely. I've only just recently come to appreciate just how good Deep Purple was back then. I was too young at the time. That's in a lot of ways that it comes about, isn't it? After years and years, you go, oh, this is actually really good. Don't ask where Steely Dan got their name from. Okay, Willie, we won't. I feel like I should really not do that now. I did not know Ricky. See, there you go. I know that song through and through. That's good music. Who did Abracadabra? Steve Miller Band. Did I get it right, Tyler? Was it the Steve Miller Band? So just so to give you guys a little bit of backstory, Tyler and I went to many conventions together for a good better part of a decade. And Tyler, before he was, roding it for us, was a radio disc jockey. He did a lot of radio stuff, and he's interviewed most of these bands that we're talking about at one time or the other. Tyler's got a fantastic radio voice, but his knowledge of music is, encyclopedic. And my knowledge of music is, is minuscule. I listen to music all the time, but I can't even remember half of the bands that I listen to now. There was one I was listening to for the past 2 days. I could not begin to tell you what the name of the band is. I just open YouTube and it appears at the top. It is, well, she's not there now. Damn it. Damn it! No, she's gone. It's like First Aid or something. Damn it. That pisses me off. It's confusing. I need to bookmark these things. Here it is. First Aid. No, that's the name of the song. My Silver Lining? First Aid Kit? I don't know. One of them's the First Aid Kit's the name of the band. There you go. I'm just horrible with it. Absolutely horrible with it. I'm a radio DJ myself in 88.3 FM New York. Are you really? That is very, very cool. I love radio. I listen to radio all the time. If I'm in the car, I'm listening to the radio. I rarely listen to, I never put whatever, phones in and whatever, unless I specifically want to hear something. And usually if I specifically want to hear something, it's Blondie, and I've got a CD in my truck. I'm going to have to look at how these bands got their names. It seems to be very interesting. I'm going to run a Weird Western and Amazing Adventures for AMA Con. Hopefully I can get it. Excellent. That's very cool. Players some Amazing Adventures. We just released Free Fire Zone last week or 2 weeks ago. I absolutely love writing for that. Steven never saw Flesh Gordon. He only saw the poster for them, but yeah, that's about it. Boss Skaggs, Lido Shovel. I'm not even sure where that's going. Statler, but I'm going to leave it alone. My wife's friend is still one in the DC area. I'm just glad I got to see Ozzy a few times. That's very cool. Yes, we did lose Ozzy today. How to wrap this conversation back to TLG products and music. WKRP line was done. There you go, Statler. You did it right there. And he's right. In the old days, we used to Davis and I put all kinds of jokes. Mac did too, and our stuff. And A Line in the Ropes, one of our early modules. Many of the characters from WKRP in Cincinnati appear in the village, so you can talk to Bailey Quarters and who and whatnot. Of course, they had the music radio station. That's, I never went back to try to watch WKRP. I tried to watch news radio and I couldn't make the leap, but I need to get back and watch WKRP. I do want to take a moment. Speaking of TLG, we do have a backer kit. It's not really a campaign. I don't know what to call it. We're building. We are signing the contracts for our building tomorrow. Building will begin in about 2 weeks, give or take, at long last. But if you want to be a part of that and you want to have a brick up there with your name on it, or just your name on the wall, head over and follow that link. Head over and check it out. We've set it up so that you guys can join and participate and be a part of it. Plug the Patreon. We're supposed to post it. Oh shit! I gotta write your little adventure. I'll get that to you. It's gonna have to be Friday, but I will get that to you because I forgot to do the follow on. Do you have anything to post today? I haven't. Jeremy's working on Crusader, the next Crusader, and I'm head deep in all this crap over here. So I don't know. We are way overdue for a company meeting. We are way overdue for a company meeting, and I need to kind of round up where everybody is and what's going on. There's all kinds of stuff laying around. But I will say this, as we wrap up these projects, and a lot of them are getting wrapped up. Exaltum, it's 95% laid out. Infernum I think it's like ready to go. So we're beginning to wrap these things up. We're down to the GFW series material and Castle Zagging, and work on the art side of Castle Zagging will begin probably next week. I think Svetlana's going to begin on the maps then, and Peter has a few more bits and pieces to do for the Adventurers Backpack, and then he's going to dive into the interior art for Castle Zagging and begin working on Parsu. So we've kind of wrapped things up on a lot of stuff, which is really, really nice. What do y'all want on Patreon tonight? I can guarantee with 10% comments, I'll post what you want. There you go. The WKB Turkey Drop is my favorite t-shirt. Yes, my wife DJ'd at Forsham University while she went there, but went another way later. There you go. DJing is just cool. I just love the radio. And I don't know. I'm a big fan of the radio. Keeps me awake on long drives. I'm always looking for channels and whatnot. And when you do that once in a lifetime, or once every year, once every 5 years, whatever, you hear your favorite song. It's that feeling of euphoria absolutely is unmatched. When I remember Dakota and I were cutting across to Maine to go to my niece's wedding. We were somewhere in Ohio, Indiana, I don't know where we were. We got kind of turned around on a bypass, and Blondie's Heart of Glass came on the radio, and it was just fantastic. I mean, it was just, you just don't get it. We weren't planning for it. We're just listening to this music in the background, jibber jabbing, trying to figure our way out. And here comes Blondie to guide us through the dark. Will the Masons and the Grove folks also get on the plaque indoors? Maybe group. Yes, everybody. So there's 3 levels. If you want to be a part of this, there's 3 levels. There's the plaque on the inside. We really don't know what form that's going to take. Your name will be put on a wall just inside the doors, and then you can buy a brick that your name will be engraved on it. It can be your name, your GM's name, your character name, your family name, your favorite stores, your store, your convention. It doesn't matter. And so there's the wall, then there's the brick, and then there's the grove. There's only a few spots in the grove. It's very expensive to put these trees in, so the pledge that is very expensive. But if you're in the grove or brick, you're going to automatically be put on the wall. And if you're in the grove, you're going to be automatically put on the wall and have a brick for yourself as well. Apologies, I've already answered. I was trying to do the sign and the brick, but it would only let me do... Yeah, just do the brick, because the brick covers the sign. I need to go in and clear that up. Make that very, very clear, that if you do one, you get everything before it. The troll shower is going to be lit. I'm really curious, once this thing kind of takes shape, and we get Davis down, and Davis is going to kind of lay the garden out, the grove out for us in the back. And I'm curious what we're going to do with that rest of that acreage. It's already increased in value off of what we purchased it, which is fantastic. So the possibility of selling it is there, but I'd rather really turn it into something that is kind of cool. I think a gaming hall would be really cool. Do many conventions there. I don't know. It's just there's all kinds of stuff that we can do. Let's see. There should be a pledge level for us to chip in for Chuck to get a tree, or to throw a brick at Chuck. I think that was always a good thing. That answers that. Just need to do the brick. We'll take care of it. Yeah, I'll get in there and fix that stuff. My parents and sister have passed away. If I do a brick for all, we can make sure that they're side by side. We'll be very careful with that stuff. And we're not 100% certain if we want to do a walkway of bricks. Davis is pitching really, really hard for, I can't remember what he called it. It's kind of the wavy wall. We talked about it a week or so ago, which I think would be cool. But absolutely, Rick, we would get all of those bricks put together. Keep your family together as best you can, which would be very, very cool. Another brick in the wall. Yes, we need to play that tunes more often. We're talking about the side of future TrollCons. You know, that's one of the things that came up. We've struggled down here finding a place to do TrollCon. Some places are asking for so much money, it's just silly. And they want to rent us these gigantic vendor halls that we don't know what we can fill, which we might be able to. It'd be great, but I don't want to commit, $50 grand to something that might be, or whatever. So, if we were to actually put something on this property, a big gaming hall, just a big gaming hall. There's a few motels, hotels in BB. There's more down in Cabot and, going down the interstate. BB is growing very fast, so my guess is there are going to be more hotels there. By the time we got a building up, it's growing very fast. It's a little bit crazy, but it'd be kind of cool to just have a big open gaming hall, a couple of smaller rooms, and then just run games. Just run games. I think that would be cool. Maybe do a big feast. Run games and do a big feast. Then we could do a joust outside because we've got enough acreage. That'd be kind of cool. Gamers can joust. That's probably not a good idea. Best start too small with a packed house and too big. Yeah, absolutely. You can get into all kinds of trouble. Crinkle, S-shaped brick wall with everyone stamped bricks. Yeah, that is what Davis is really, really pushing for hard. And I'm loving the idea. I think it would be one of the things that I'm aware of. I don't want what we build to impact neighborhoods, and there's a neighborhood kind of angled off from the back of where the building's going to be. And it's, I don't know, about probably 12 houses, 15 houses in that area, and I think they're putting another neighborhood on the back side of it. So I don't want whatever we're doing to disturb those people. I want to disturb them as least as humanly possible. So I was thinking that would be a cool place to put the crinkle wall, is to kind of separate TLG's property from this neighborhood, and then there's a nice brick wall that, they can do their thing and we can do our thing, and there you go. Yeah, we're going with Arkansas indigenous trees. Now, Arkansas's got some really rough weather to it. It gets very hot, it gets very cold, it's very humid. So it's going to have to be trees that can stand our our crazed temperature variances. Arkansas can be very very harsh environment. So smaller trees like Bradford pears, they look beautiful, but we're not doing that. So just kind of the tough trees. There you go, a wild boar hunt. That's what we need to do is fence it. Dakota and I get out there and fence it, and then just have a wild boar hunt. There you go. And then a giant feast afterwards. That reminded me of something else that I read. And again, I don't know if this is true or not, but they've discovered that plants can take visual cues. You're going to have to go research this. I'm only half interested in things, and I read it because I was actually thinking about the darkened fold. So whatever, you know, whatever. But so we're gonna have to be careful when we put plants in here because they might be watching us. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be crazy. So a 35-foot chainsaw troll leering over the wall. Where's that? Yeah, none of that, Willie. We don't want any of that. I don't know who lives there. I saw a bicycle, so I'm guessing there's some kids over there. We don't want to frighten any kids chasing them around with chainsaws. But I think the Grove is going to be very, very cool. We'll put some benches out there and just go sit and pop a squat, as they say. But if we had a little convention hall on that other 4 acres, that would be kind of cool. Where we all kind of gather, feast and game. We could do one gigantic game, kind of a U-shaped table with 100 people on it, and 3 or 4 CKs running it simultaneously. That'd be cool. Terrifying the local kids is have the fun of being my age. Get off of my yard. My lawn. I really appreciate the thought towards native trees and plants of Arkansas inbreds. Thank you, Gold Public. I'm a huge fan of that. I think that there's beautiful plants everywhere, and it's cool to import. It's really not cool. You can look at kudzu. What kudzu has done to the South is absolutely monstrous. I just go read up on kudzu. It's nuts. But Arkansas's got some beautiful trees to it, and I don't want to plant something that 4 years from now it's going to wither because the weather we got a wicked hot July going on right now. It is just wicked hot down here, and this is going to carry on into. We all knew it was coming. It was such a mild June, and May had so much rain that we knew it was coming. It's going to carry on into August, probably into September too. I would be surprised if we get any more rain this year. And it's, I don't know what it is, 90 something degrees and hotter than spit. So putting delicate shrubs or grass or whatever is just not, it's not a thing. And I don't think, and so anyway, so we're right there with you. We'll keep it indigenous. And if we do if we did in the future do like a game hall, we would plant indigenous trees around it, so it's not kind of this industrial space. And that's one of the things I'm trying to avoid, is to make this look like an industrial space. I want this to look the way it should, the way, when you have a piece of property, you should take care of that piece of property, and if you're going to build on it, build so that it, is part of it. I think that's all very, very doable. I see. Where would you like to start this con at, and what part of the country? In Little Rock, well, in Beebe would be cool at this point, but I don't think Beebe has any kind of conventions in it. Are you digging a well or two? We're not yet, but we certainly could. Dakota's pushing hard for a pond to be in there. Let's see. Bradford pears are invasive. The guy who bioengineered those things should be, well, if I was honest, my thoughts, I'd be banned from the platform. Yeah, they're really, there's a pretty tree, but its flowers don't last very long. But they can't take, you'll see Bradford pears all over the place. Property owners planted them all over Little Rock. But they break constantly. They calve like an iceberg. It's just not a good tree down here. It's just not. I don't know if they're bioengineered. That's the first I've heard of that. But if that's the case, then it's just a bad idea, and they don't need to be really down here. If you want some pretty flowering trees, dogwoods flower. They look beautiful. What is that other one? There's 2 or 3 really pretty flowering trees that can withstand this. The buckeye. The buckeye was one. There's another one. I can't remember what it is. Is it the sweet gum? There's some trees down here that we can do. I would like to dig a dungeon underneath it. That would be very cool. Where would you like to? Let's see. Yeah, kudzu is just, man, and I'm a vine killer. When I see vines, because vines will choke your trees out in a heartbeat. If I see vines, I cut them, unless it's honeysuckle. Yeah. Bummer being called to dinner. I listen to some. Blondie, there you go. We'll see you later, Varsoup. Steve, we now have Castle Games in Brazil. We're absolutely thrilled over here. Excellent. Excellent, Jamal. That is very, very cool. Chuck told me last week your Kickstarter was very successful. Fantastic. And I know you got all the files. I can't wait to start seeing this stuff out. That is going to be just wonderful. And if you need more support, just give us a shout. We'll do whatever we can for you. And maybe I can get down to Brazil. Always wanted to go to Brazil and poke around. So I'll come down there and hang out a little bit. That would be very cool. Do you have Dr. Pepper in a can down there? I ask because sometimes it's hard to get a hold of. You can't find it in Europe very often. You got to find specialty dealers. It's kind of nuts. Kind of nuts. Let's see. Is the New Adventures Backpack coming soon? Yes, very soon. Peter's waiting for files from me, which I should get to him tomorrow. And then I think... Well, I would swear we're waiting for something on the classes. Was it the Warlock? No, the Warlock's done. Sword Dancer? Something about the Sword Dancer, I think. Maybe I gave that to him. If Peter were here, I'd ask him. But we're very, very... probably, if it wasn't for Gen Con, I would have everything to him. But Gen Con's fixed to roll right into us. And really, this Comic Con is going to eat up a little bit of time. I had not planned in anywhere, shape, or form to go to Comic Con. But now I'm going to be out there for this... flying out Friday morning, or Thursday morning, so that's going to knock a couple of days off of the mess. I hope to have it to the printers the week after we get back from Gen Con. I was shooting for July 31st or July 21st. Didn't make that date. Part of that stretch rewards getting the Sword Dancer and the Warlock patched together and art for them. That delayed it a little bit, but the rest is ready to go. The backpacks are done. Multi-classing section is done. I finished bandages, war dogs. I want to say there's one other section I got to read, but it's really just waiting for the last bits and pieces of the classes to get in there. Let's see. Cherry Blossom, how's Dakota doing on starter set shipping? All of the starter sets except 57 as of yesterday, close of business, have it. So unless your order came in today, so there's 57 out of the 500 or so that were ordered left to ship. We'll get those out tomorrow. So if you haven't gotten your shipping notification, you should very soon. What about pecans and black walnuts? So we thought about that. Black walnuts, actually, we could put probably 10 of those in and start harvesting those things. Pecans, Davis would eat every one of them and die of pecan poisoning. Buckeye, that's Ohio. They didn't... blah, blah, blah. Let's see. We've got a Yoshino cherry tree. Is that indigenous to it? You got to be careful. But if it's doing great, that's very cool. And I'll say this, the land we've got in BB's got really good soil to it. So I think we could plant just about anything. But we are going to stick with indigenous plants. Is a fig tree native to the Trollshire area? I don't think we've got any figs down here, but I'll check for you, Coop. Steven's trip to Brazil. I need a cold Dr. Pepper and Mars bars imported from Europe. Yes, exactly. I'm always, every time I get, like I was in New York, a couple years ago when my daughter got married, York, England, and I immediately began walking around looking for a place to get a cold Dr. Pepper. Sometimes you gotta do it. You gotta do it. I've got walnut and pecan trees. The deer love them. Oh, yeah, probably so. You have never seen someone eat pecans like Davis eat pecans. In northeast Arkansas, there's just fantastic pecans up there. And my sister-in-law picks my brother up, I don't know, probably like 4 paper grocery bags of pecans every year and brings them to him. He just sits and devours them all. He absolutely loves pecans. I like pecans, but not nearly that much. Not nearly that much. Jefferson loved figs. He has them all over Monticello. I don't think we've got any native fig. We do have some native fruit trees. The problem with fruit trees, I think, is that you've got to kind of maintain them a little bit to get good fruit off of them. And I don't want anything really that I got to go out there and maintain. Keeping the 5 acres somewhat tamed is in and of itself going to be, enough of a job. Needs to be a writer on every speaking contract. Natural gods. What did Rick say? What needs to be a writer? Let's see. Yes, I agree 100%. In the old days, both Game Hall and Gary Con, I always had a case of Dr. Pepper when I showed up in my room. But those times are past. It's lean times now in the gaming verse. But there you go. All right, we're getting ready to wind down on this Ask Me Anything. You guys have any more questions? Throw them up. Chuck is on here to do any giveaways or whatever he normally does. Find other channels to wander into. So we're all just going to leave here and go to dinner is what we're going to do. I'm not sure what the schedule is this week, later this evening. Grace will be on running her game, so definitely check that out. I think it's at 7:30, some such time, Central Time. Scrapped, where she's running the three ladies through the mayhem of that adventure. And Thursday there may be a show. I'm not going to be around. I might be around. I might be at the hotel by then. Don't know. If there is, I'll try to hop on. But Chuck's going to a convention up in Lake Geneva. I can't. Is it GaxCon? What is the name of your convention, Chuck? Not sure which is going on. So we may not have a show on Thursday. If not, by Monday we'll be back to regularly scheduled. No, we won't. We'll be going to Gen Con. Sorry about that. I agree. Steven's probably less demanding than Eddie. There you go. Have a great evening. You too, Portulus. We will see you later. And you're going to have to tell me how to pronounce your name at Gen Con or Gary Con, wherever that is. I'll run it myself. There you go. Jeremy, do it, man. We got to do it. All right, everybody. I'm going to wander on. Thank you all for joining me today. And we'll be back and check out the EggCon. There you go. I knew I was sort of close. Check out the Backer Kid campaign. Join us if you're inclined. And let's all go get some dinner. You two Wolf alone. Everybody, take it easy. We'll talk to you all later. Wait, I saw Dr. Pepper in that stream. Everyone who visits the Troll Trail needs to... Yes, I'm going to actually buy one of the old Dr. Pepper drink boxes and put it in the office. We'll put a lock on it so Dakota can't have any. But, you know, that's just the way it is sometimes. All right, everybody. y'all take it easy. yeah, bad.